Oh man, do I love me some Pixar movies. And today I am going to be ranking every main Pixar villain from the least to most evil. Some of these movies do not have an outright villain, so after doing some research on Antagonist Wiki, I was able to determine the main villain for each movie. That being said, let's just jump right into it.
2, 3, 4.
Rushing or dragging?
Rushing.
So you do know the difference!
The least evil main antagonist in Pixar is Terry. Soul's Terry is an accountant played by Jeff Goldblum's friend in Thor Ragnarok, and her job is to count all the souls who go into the great beyond. I also think while Terry is the main antagonist, she is right. Joe Gardner literally dies in this movie. All Terry is trying to do is making sure that the numbers add up for the great beyond, and Joe Gardner is breaking the system. So since she was just doing her job, Terry, in my opinion, is the least evil main antagonist in Pixar history.
Softer voices in my head.
Joy is the protagonist of Inside Out, but I also think she is indirectly the antagonist if you have to pin it on a certain character, since she spends majority of the movie suppressing sadness. This does end up hurting Riley even though Joy was trying to do the right thing, and also a fun fact that I learned was that Riley's depression was supposed to be represented by Gloom, the character, before he was changed into more of an idea. While Joy is just trying to do the right thing, I think she is slightly more evil than Terry, which is why I have to put her second from the bottom in my ranking.
Goodbye, everyone! I'll remember you all in therapy!
Anxiety, a lot like Joy, is a control freak. But rather than being controlling to just sadness, she is a control freak towards all the original emotions. Both of these villains are very similar when they learn that the emotions need to work together, but since Anxiety suppresses more emotions than Joy did, I have to give her one spot higher on my list.
Is it still the greatest movie in history?
It never was.
Onward is the first movie on this list that has an actual villain that I think everyone can agree on, and that is the Cursed Dragon. While being a vengeful guardian, he is still without a doubt attempting to do some murders in here. I agree he's doing his job, but be nicer about it. Before Ellen got cancelled on and off the screen, Finding Dory brought us another thrown-in last-second villain, and that is the giant squid.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
According to this, the giant squid is the main antagonist in Finding Dory. There are other predatory animals on this list, but the giant squid here does not have a personality, and it makes him just feel more like a predatory animal rather than an evil character. And that's why I gotta throw him right here.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Finally, everyone's favorite villain, and that is Thunderclap. In the same vein as the giant squid, he is just a predatory animal, but he is shown to have more of a conscience, so when he portrays Littlefoot, I mean Arlo, it feels more slimy than the giant squid. Also, it says here that he is a gang leader, and that's probably a little bit worse than just being a solo giant squid. If you're a pterodactyl out there, stay in school and don't join gangs. Another classic Pixar villain in Finding Nemo with a Dr. Philip Sherman. I as well thought it would be Darla, but no. P. Sherman, 42, Wallaby Way, Sydney, is the main antagonist here. And he might have the funniest bio on the entire internet. Occupation, dentist. Powers and skills, dentistry. Hobby, putting fish in his office. Type of antagonist, dentist. Everyone we have talked about so far has been a wild animal or a fourth dimensional being, so I think the guy who likes to collect fish is an appropriate candidate for this next spot on my list.
I was supposed to have a separate room for my puppet.
Everyone always had that weird kid in the neighborhood, and I think that was displayed perfectly with Sid Phillips. Or as he's also known as Sid or Happy Child.
You mean that happy child?
There's nothing really to say here other than Sid is just a brat kid who needed to get bullied by his toys so that he'd be nicer to his sister and respect the finest establishment in the land, Pizza Planet.
It's all about you, girl, on your 16th birthday.
Up next, we have Ming Lee. She's a bit of a hardcore parent, and while she was blind to it for majority of the movie, she was in her mind doing what she thought was best for her daughter. This, though, did end up costing them hundreds of millions of dollars, but we don't talk about that.
Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
We are now on to Bernie Lumen from Elemental. He is a lot like Ming Lee, but is a slight racist against the Water Tribe and anyone not fire in this movie. So I have to put him over Ming Lee because even though a lot of his experience shaped how he sees the world, racism is bad.
I saw it! It's big, scary, and pink!
The president of Roar Omega Roar, also known as Johnny Worthington, has a bigger list of crimes than you would think, while harassing Uzma Kappa during Monsters University. And just to prove that he should be worth this high on this list, here is a list of every single crime he did in the movie.
We'll bring the nightmares to from Monsters University. Alma mater, we love you.
I think that proves that he deserves to be this high on this list. Do you ever just see someone and think, man, he deserves a punch in the face? And that is every time I see Irkol Visakanti.
Okay, now let's try to get an answer from someone who's not a complete
I don't know, I can't say his name right, I'm sorry. But he's basically Sid Phillips on steroids, but instead he tortures children all the time, while Sid Phillips only did it part-time.
With these upgrades, you never stood a chance.
Cars 3 is a great return to form, like how it was in Cars 1. And along with that came another Chick Hicks-style villain with Jackson Storm. Jackson Storm is a cocky, cheating racer who wants to be at the top and will do whatever is needed to achieve that. Nothing else really is needed to say here other than he is a cheating jerk, but he does look awesome, so he gets some style points.
It's nice to finally be back in Radiator Springs.
I want you.
Oh man, the OG, the mean man, the original Chick Hicks. Doesn't he just have the aura of that one uncle at Thanksgiving? Basically the same amount of evil as Jackson Storm, but the OG Chick Hicks gets to go higher in the ranking just because of how iconic he is.
Dude, we're getting the band back together!
Probably the least iconic Toy Story villain with Gabby Gabby. She comes off as a misunderstood and not that evil character, but you have to remember that she definitely did kidnap Woody and was basically going to harvest his organs. That's pretty messed up.
Marie! The baguettes!
Here comes a pretty hot take. For the context of the movie, yes, Chef Skinner is a bad dude, but is he wrong? There really was a rat in the kitchen, and that is a major health code violation, and he was right. Because the entire movie, Remy's trying to prove that he's not the one doing the cooking, but he is. That being said, he does still try to steal the restaurant from Linguini, leaving behind his long list of crimes.
I am your father.
I cannot choose who to pick for Toy Story 2, so I chose both. The two main antagonists for the film, Stinky Pete and Al McWiggin, both share a lot of the same crimes of kidnapping and imprisonment. Al McWiggin is more on the stealing side though, since he only broke in and stole a toy, while Stinky Pete did hold a living being against their will.
We're a family!
The main goal of Evelyn Dever, aka the Screenslaver, is to tarnish the name of superheroes, which she does through brainwashing. While she does do some other crimes, her main crime is mass kidnapping and manipulation. This is the biggest crime that we've seen so far, but we have a lot more evil villains to get to.
Oh, freedom!
Mor'du is a fallen prince who tore apart his father's kingdom for power and personal gain. He destroyed an entire nation and people's lives for the control that he thought he deserved from his brothers. But for the context of the movie, he is just an evil bear.
That belongs in a museum!
Up is such a happy movie, but I personally forgot how evil Charles Muntz is. Charles Muntz killed anyone on his path who he thought would capture the rare bird Kevin before he would. He also kidnaps, attempts to murder, harms animals throughout the movie. A very evil dude that a lot of people sweep under the rug that should get recognized for how evil he is.
I know, grandson. A woman in the military.
I completely forgot that there is another, even more forgettable Toy Story villain than Gabby Gabby, and that is Zurg. While he is more forgettable, his crimes are not. His goal of reversing time is originally a noble idea, but Captain America Buzz Lightyear does not want to erase the lives of his friends that they built while stranded. Erasing people out of existence is a very Thanos-level crime in my opinion. Ernesto de la Cruz. While not on the same global scale as other villains that we've talked about so far, this man stole everything and murdered his best friend for fame. He also intends of murdering Hector again a second time by letting Mama Coco forget about him, so he will vanish. A double murder on one man is crazy, and he also wants to kill a child, which is not cool.
There is only one thing worse than a rapist. Boom. A child.
While some people may think Randall is the main villain in Monsters, Inc., I personally would rather talk about Henry J. Waternoose III. This dude is attempting to do a Matrix-style setup where he can kidnap kids and then milk them for power, all for the sake of his company to not go under. That is extremely evil, and the cherry on top of it is that anyone who gets in his way, he will banish to death in another dimension.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
I know. Hear me out. This ranking is based only on how evil the villain is, and oh my gosh, Sir Miles Axelrod from Cars 2 is worth this spot. Pretending to be a reformed electric car, he funds the Lemon Car crime syndicate that commit mass terror on the World Grand Prix. He uses his pulse weapon to disable and destroy cars using his fuel he created to make people want to stick with big oil. He also has Mater almost blown up in front of the Queen of England, which I would assume would cause Cars World War III. And yes, we do know that cars have had wars because there are different car veterans and other car war events that are referenced in the Cars universe. And they've had car crusades because there is a car pope. I am serious. His name is Pope Pinion IV. Pope Pinion is a Holy Motors car, and his tire brand is Altus Via, which literally translates from Latin as high road. Pope or no pope in the Cars universe, Sir Miles Axelrod is worth being this high on this list, and to prove my point again, here is a list of his crimes.
Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
Toy Story 3 did not have to go this hard with the strawberry-smelling Austrian painter-style teddy bear. Lotso Huggin' Bear runs a concentration camp in this daycare. His systematic corruption, psychological abuse, and abuse of power are all super serious. Also, while in the trash incinerator, Lotso literally throws all the toys that just saved his life to the fire. Insane. Lotso cements himself as one evil dude, and also I wanted to mention on this list of crimes, it also specifically mentions crimes against happiness and crimes against toy kind. And while awful, that is kinda hilarious.
Ant-Man. What, you haven't heard of me?
Played by real-life villain Kevin Spacey, Hopper from A Bug's Life is a lot like Lotso Huggin' Bear. His goals of control over an entire race by starvation and killing their leader are extreme tactical moves done by a psycho. The ants working for the grasshopper's food is basically slavery, along with his murder, terrorism, oppression, and several other crimes he does throughout the movie. Hopper Stalin is one bad bug. Glad that his reign came to an end.
The International Justice League of Super Acquaintances!
The Incredibles has one of the best villains. Just kidding, The Incredibles is actually my favorite Pixar movie, and it also has one of the most evil villains with Syndrome. Syndrome is a serial murderer who works in illegal weapons dealings, torture, and terrorism. His goal of faking a city attack to show the importance of his tech is psychotic. Also, to prep for the attack, he murdered ex-superheroes one by one, not only for revenge, but for the betterment of his technology. Did I forget the part where he blew up an airplane that he knew was full of children, or where he stole a baby to raise as his own? Overall, this sly dog of a villain is so iconic and evilly written.
Oh my god, you guys, look, it's Recyclops!
Recyclops destroy!
Thanks for sticking around if you've made it this far, and check out some of our other videos, but now we are at number 1, and last but not least, we have Otto. Otto keeps the entire known human population enslaved and refuses to send them home. He also does this, even with knowing that there is evidence that humans can survive on Earth again. His goal to follow Directive A113 via ensuring the human beings on the Axiom will never return to Earth for eternity by any means necessary is crazy. The humans on the ship are slowly wasting away into nothingness, so is Otto directly or indirectly wiping out the entire human population? Seems pretty intense of a villain and evil to me, even if he's just a robot doing what he's programmed. And that is why I think Otto is the most evil Pixar villain. Let me know who your favorite Pixar villain is and what ranking we should do next.